The conqueror has said that all things are the emanations of the mind. Listen, I shall tell you what he meant by this. From within the state of primal luminosity, through ignorance, through clinging to the self, there manifest samsara's various hallucinatory appearances, which are like emanated apparitions. They are perceived, though they do not exist, and thence comes all experiences of joy and sorrow. This is what appears to the minds of beings, the form of their habitual tendencies. When these are cleansed, there manifest spontaneously the triple kaya of the Buddha element, together with the self-experience of luminous primordial wisdom. It is, as the 𝐼𝐬𝐸𝐿𝐵 says, there is the self-experience of the ordinary mind, and then the self-experience of primordial wisdom. The primordial expanse is source of everything. When this is recognized, and when, by such a means, defilements have been cleansed, the self-experience of primordial wisdom manifests. When this has not been recognized, then through deluded clinging to a self, the mind's subjective vision of the world occurs. All joys and sorrows of the 6 migrations appear like emanated apparitions. Just as an emanated apparition arises without any basis, likewise, you should understand that all hallucinatory appearances are pure and without any basis. Just as those who have great power of mind control are able to produce an emanated apparition, likewise, you should understand that it is through the habits of the minds of beings that various things appear. Just as an emanated apparition appears according to the emanator's wish, likewise, you should understand that things arise from causes and conditions. Just as an emanated apparition is an illusion that arises when nothing's there, likewise, you should understand that things are just deluded mind's experience. Its self-appearance, self-arising, wherein the mind is self-engrossed, and things appear according to its habits. If you do not indulge in any habits, if you leave things as they are, you will in no way be deluded. Abiding in the nature of the ground, you will remain within the mind's pristine expanse. Now the 3 poisons, the 5 poisons, all derive from thought. But on examination, they are nowhere found. Defilements are like emanated apparitions. They lack intrinsic being. Rest, therefore, in their unborn and empty nature. Phenomenal existence, the world, and all the beings it contains, their bodies and possessions, their going, staying, joys and sorrows all, appearing while not really there, are like the emanations of the mind without intrinsic being. They have no origin. They do not cease. They do not come. They do not go. They do not pass. They do not change. Yet variously, they all appear. Understand this well, therefore. They are indeed just emanated apparitions. All deluded thoughts, all sorrows of the mind are just like emanated apparitions. They lack intrinsic being and yet appear without obstruction. Understand their emptiness of true existence. They are neither in the object nor within the mind itself. The universe composed of the 5 elements, the beings that reside in the 3 worlds. Whatever one affirms or else denies, are all, without exception, emanations of the mind. And the mind itself, though it appears, is also void of real existence. Know that from the outset it is pure, just like an emanation, an illusion. Ignorant and childish beings perceive and think mistakenly. All concrete things endowed with features, all objects that the mind has posited, are but the outcome of habitual tendencies. In truth, they have no real existence. Do not indulge, therefore, in subject-object clinging, speaking of these things. Understand instead that all is free of ontological extremes, beyond the reach of words. Although phenomena are labelled this or that, it's just as with the names for space or rabbit's horns. Phenomena are not real things. They are just thoughts without existence in the fundamental nature. Understand that they are rootless, empty from the outset. All that thought imputes is mind. It has no factual existence. All that seems to be an object of the senses is just habitual tendency, appearing, yet not real. And since there is no object, there's no apprehension of an object. No duality of apprehender and the apprehended. You cannot say, you cannot think, you cannot indicate phenomena. They are beyond the ontological extremes. No one can identify them saying, this. Know that they resemble emanated apparitions. From the outset, they are void of self. Just as apparitions emanated forth are empty of existence in the moment they appear, so too are all phenomena, appearing and yet void of true existence. Emanated apparitions are beyond extremes of being and non-being. Just so are all phenomena beyond conceptual thinking. Although things may be variously described, they appear, they are empty, they are true or false. They have no reality at all. Do not apprehend them then as this or that. Just view them as a limitless expanse. If there is no clinging and fixation, things are left just as they are. What purpose is there in negating or affirming what is simply words? If you have fixation, saying this, it is not in any way the fundamental nature. For what can webs of mind's analysis reveal? Imputed by the mind, your thoughts might indicate the final truth of emptiness, and yet this is to cling to an extreme. How, therefore, can it be the fundamental nature? And yet, you may object, because they give an indication. Will words not lead us to an understanding? But emptiness exceeds both words and definitions. So what is there that words could indicate? The objection, therefore, has no meaning. The nature of the mind cannot be seen through concepts and fixated clinging. Investigations of discursive intellect lead only to approximations. But when the blessings of a teacher penetrate your heart, it's like the sun that rises in a cloudless sky. Through the powerful conjunction of dependent factors, the sublime will manifest. All things, then, are equal. There is no discerning them as this or that. They are a naked state of voidness, free from ontological extremes, like space itself. A vast expanse, appearing yet empty, like emanated apparitions. Thus all things come naturally to be realized. Samsara in itself is just deluded thought. And when the nature of the mind is seen, it is nirvana, there from the beginning. It is primal wisdom, free of all fixation, that, in self-knowing, knows its object. Nothing that appears is real. There is no apprehending it as this or that. The mind finds comfort in a state where mind and what appears are seen as emanated apparitions. When this is realized, you become a noble being who beholds the truth. This is the truth itself. There's nothing else to indicate. Everything spontaneously arising sets in its own place its very nature. Such realization manifests to none but those whose hearts are touched by blessings of a master of 1,000 skillful means. A visible thing, a blazing lamp, is seen by those with eyes. How can beings blind from birth perceive it, even though it's shown to them? Those who have no knowledge of the teaching, those who have no understanding of its meaning, cannot see the sunlight of this excellence. Others, yet more foolish and pretentious, are like reciting parrots, caught in the nets of their discursive thoughts. They will never find the quintessential truth. Suchness they will never know. Like beings blind from birth in front of solid objects, they will never come to realization, for they take as true the findings of their intellects. Alas for their pretentious lies! Alas for their unhappy fortune! They have no hope of reaching quintessential truth. For us, it is the Master who reveals the nature of the mind, sublime, primordial wisdom. Authentic, self-cognizing, primal wisdom arises when the mind is left unspoiled by tampering and alteration. When there's neither hope nor doubt, no clinging, no assumptions, it appears. More clearly does it manifest within the state of emptiness and luminosity, devoid of center and of boundary. Thus to be accepted by a holy teacher, the holder of the blessings of the lineage, is indeed of highest moment. For undistracted meditation on the fundamental nature, as before, first practice the preliminaries, and in the Guru Yoga, pray that you succeed in seeing all phenomena as emanated apparitions. Then, in the main practice, firmly take your stand upon the understanding that the mind is, by its nature, like an emanated apparition. And that everything appearing to the mind, this too is, by its nature, like an emanated apparition. Everything is unborn, like an emanation. With this understanding, leave the mind at rest, devoid of mental agitation. As you rest then in a clear and empty state, devoid of mind's elaboration, there comes a clear and limpid luminosity, resembling an emanated apparition, motionless and free from the duality of apprehender, apprehended. Sense objects appear and are perceived unceasingly, and yet there is no grasping them as this or that. There is no fabrication and no alteration. It is a vivid, limpid, undistracted state of natural bliss, a state of mind that's bright, devoid of thoughts, and similar to space itself. Thus you see the nature of the mind, devoid of thought's construction. It's then that mental states regarding things that are like apparitions subside, themselves like apparitions also. Craving and aversion, hopes and fears, all clinging to a self, are all like emanated apparitions. The ground, the path, the fruit, are all the state of openness and freedom. Then, however you may meditate, it will not fetter you. Though you meditate on things as if they were existent, you will be free from the extreme of permanence. Though you meditate on things as non-existent, you will be unstained by nihilism. Though you meditate in dualistic ways, you will remain within the state of non-duality. Though you meditate on self-identity, you will not be bound by clinging to a self. Though you meditate on other things, you will nonetheless be free of hope and fear. Though you implement the generation stage, you will naturally accomplish the perfection stage. Though you practice the perfection stage, the stage of generating an appearance is likewise done. arising and subsiding, all occur at once, and thus from all defilements you are free. Within the natural state, devoid of apprehending thought, you rest within the wheel of ultimate reality, the no time of the triple time. Meditation and post-meditation, for you, there is no difference. You experience them like emanated apparitions. It's then that the yogis seem to be like aimless lunatics, free of clinging, free of care. They're totally bereft of hope and fear. They do not alter anything that manifests. All for them is equal and elusive. They realize without effort, wisdom mind, the all-embracing space. And then, both night and day, the yogi sees all things as emanated apparitions. In the chakra of great bliss, there is but a single space of bliss. In the chakra of enjoyment, all qualities are savoured. In the chakra of the Dharmata, the ultimate is ever present. In the chakra of manifestation, appearances are boundless. In the bliss-preserving chakra, bliss is kept both day and night. So it is that without any training, the wind mind penetrates the crucial place. The ground of cleansing factors to be cleansed, the cleansing agent, the channels, main and radial, together with the winds, are all primordial wisdom. The fruit of cleansing, the single taste of all, is thus made manifest. You will be able in your dreams to take on different forms that you can change, and then behold the various Buddha fields. Later, these deluded dreams will cease, and day and night you will remain in luminosity. Remaining in the concentrations on bliss, on luminosity, and no thought, you will gain the powers of vision, preternatural cognition, miracles, and other qualities. Your realization and experience will be unbounded, and thus you will achieve your own good and the good of other beings. Therefore, you who are endowed with fortune, meditate unceasingly that all things have the nature of an emanated apparition.